Okay. So thank you all for joining us for the Winter Research Collaborative meeting. We appreciate you taking the time to attend because we know everyone's insights are really valuable and we can all do more work when we come together and collaborate. I'm going to read this disclaimer really quick. It's just kind of a policy thing that we have to do. So this webinar will be recorded and shared publicly through our website. Consequently, anything shared during this webinar, including chat comments, could be shared publicly. This webinar may represent a presenter's or attendee's personal views, opinions, conclusions, and other information which do not necessarily reflect those of MVU and/or the Michigan Virtual Learning Research Institute and are not given nor endorsed by MVU, MVLRI, unless otherwise specified. So today we're going to do some brief introductions. We'll go over some business, including collaboration opportunities such as grants, research, publications and presentations, upcoming conferences that we know about, any other opportunities that the attendees might have, questions about anyone's current research, anything else anyone would like to bring to the table, and we'll wrap up by talking about some of our upcoming events and some other events that anyone else might be aware of. We'd like to start, like we do every research collaborative meeting, by getting to know everybody. We know some of you and some of you know some of you, but we'd like to have the whole group introduce themselves. So in the chat box, if you've got a chance, please include your name, affiliation, research interest, and what you'd like to get out of this meeting. I'll give everyone a minute to do that real quick. While everyone's chatting, I'd like to do an introduction. We have on our team a new researcher, Changa Bay. She joined us a month or two ago, and we're super happy to have her. So, Changa, if you want to include some of your information in the chat box as well, everyone can get to know you as well.
Yes, I'm typing my introduction in the chat box now. Yes, my name is Jeonga, and who recently joined the MVLRI team. My major role is doing quantitative research. It's really nice to meet you all.
Changa, sorry to put you on the spot, but I thought everyone would like to get to know you as well. And thank you, Dustin and Kevin, for putting in your information. Kevin, grad student, nice. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you can get something out of this meeting. And um, Dustin, it looks like you're also a Michigan native or came to Michigan for school, so nice to have you. Great. Well, welcome everyone. Again, we're so glad you could join us today. So we'll get started with some of the business stuff that we have so far. A couple of grants that we have on our radar are the NSF Cyber Learning Grant and the Spencer Research Practice Partnership Grant, which both have the NSF Cyber Learning Grant deadline is coming up a bit soon, but the Spencer one is in the summer. So if anyone's interested in research practice partnerships, that's a good grant for research and any practicing teachers to go for. I'll include the links for both of those in the chat box real quick. So if anyone's interested, they can take a look at those. And does anyone else on the call have any other grant or funding opportunities that they know of right now that might be of interest to the group? Oh, Catherine says IES has one as well that's similar to Spencer, so it's another research practice partnership grant. Thanks, Catherine, for
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'll add that into the chat box in just a second.
Great, thank you. Oh, and Ray mentioned that the REL competition is now open as well. Ray, would you happen to have a link for that? Oh, Catherine beat me to it. Perfect. Great minds think alike. Anyone else, feel free to type in the chat, or you can go ahead and use your mic if you have a grant opportunity that you know of, or one that you're going to be pursuing.
Okay, this is Ray. I asked a question, you didn't see it. Do you have anybody who's going to be at the Cyber Learning Conference, Cyber Learning 2016, that got uh, postponed because of the weather in Washington, but is coming up?
We don't have anyone going to that conference actually. When is that?
Well, good question. We don't know yet.
It hasn't been rescheduled.
It hasn't been rescheduled, but the plan there is to talk about the Cyber Learning Grant. This is basically an NSF program, principal investigator meeting for cyber learning, but there's been a limited invite for other folks to attend. I'm supposed to be there. We'll see what happens when they reschedule it. But that was, in fact, to talk about the cyber learning grants. And one of the NSF program officers has a major role in the cyber learning grant, has a major role in the cyber learning conference. So there's data there anyway.
Well, thank you, Ray, for bringing that to our attention. And Kevin, you looks like you posted one as well, so thank you so much for that. Okay, great. It looks like there's a number of opportunities out there. So if anyone's interested in those, or if there's any partnerships, go ahead and reach out to us or anyone else and get those moving. In terms of collaboration opportunities around research, we don't have any specified here. Does anyone have any collaborative research going on right now that they know of, or any opportunities for that? Again, you can take over the mic, or you can go ahead and enter in the chat box.
Kristen, this is Catherine. I can go ahead and share just about our work with Nickel Aware on students with disabilities. We are looking at putting together a guide, and she's looking to find other researchers and practitioners in the field that will help to provide strategies for specific learning and physical disabilities of students. So it would be a practical guide similar to our mentoring guide that will go out to practitioners to help them in the classroom, on the ground, in the field. So if you know of anyone that she can reach out to, I know she has some people in mind, but if you have certain practitioners and or researchers, or you are one of those researchers that would, or practitioners that would like to be involved in that, please feel free to reach out to us, and I'll put my email address in the chat box.
Great, thanks for sharing, Catherine. It looks like Michael posted something as well. I'll let everyone read that. You might need to scroll up to read that. And Dennis says he's in the process of planning a study on how special ed students perform in cyber schools. Great, thank you, Dennis. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. We'll move on to publications. So there are certainly a number of publications. We've highlighted a couple here that are specific to online learning, and I'll let Catherine go ahead and talk about those since she knows a bit more about them. So Catherine?
Yeah, so the Online Learning Journal has just recently sent out a special issue request for those who were at the Online Learning Consortium conference last year. So they're looking for specifically K-12 online learning to go to, I believe it's Tony Picciano as the editor, and you have to send him, I believe, a 300-word abstract. I can go ahead and send you his email address in the box as well. The other thing that has come up for the Journal of Online Learning Research, our editorial team is hard at work on two special issues. One is on professional development, and the other one is on student supports. And before that, we'll have another issue out in March, but the PD issue is coming out in June, and then the student support one is due out in October, I believe. So looking forward to lots of great submissions. The PD submission date has already passed the deadline, but the student supports one is coming up relatively quickly, and I can check on that date and put that in the chat box as well.
Thanks, Catherine. Any other research or publication opportunities that the group knows of? Ray mentioned that he's got a chapter coming out in Teacher Learning in the Digital Age. Dennis mentioned a couple publications he's got coming out. And Michael, thank you for highlighting it, the K-12 focus special issue of the OLJ. Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll move on to talk about the publication opportunity that we have, which is our blog, the MVLRI blog. We do weekly or every other week posts. And if you have anything to share or you'd like to be a guest blogger, please let us know. I think our contact information is at the end of the call, but Catherine also posted her information in the chat box already. And we are actually, thanks to Catherine, we are looking for some people who are interested in blogging maybe more than one time. We're thinking quarterly or a couple times a year. They don't have to necessarily be related blog posts, but people who would like to do sort of a multiple posts for us. So if you're interested in that opportunity, again, go ahead and email us and we can talk about that. A presentation opportunity that we have as well is our MVLRI webinar series. And Justin is the wonderful host of those. We've got some scheduled out, but we're always looking for great presenters. So that's one presentation opportunity. Does anyone else have any presentation opportunities that they know of coming up or that they offer through their institutions? Some people might be typing about these, but we'll go ahead and move on. Oh, Michael mentioned the folks in Canada. There's a Canada e-learning network. They have a monthly webinar. Thank you, Michael. That's not on our radar, so we'll definitely add it to what we follow. And Catherine mentioned the special issue deadline. So thanks, Catherine. More on our webinar series. If you want to present, again, let us know. Timing is flexible. We take informal webinars about work in progress or once your work is done. They take place in Adobe Connect, which is what we're using right here. So it's a pretty easy technology to use. And we record them just like this meeting and post them up to our website so that anyone can view them when they get a chance. Again, let us know if you're interested in that or presenting through our webinar series or through our blogs. And then some more business, upcoming opportunities, including conferences. So the site conference is coming up in March, and I know Catherine and I will both be attending that. AERA is coming up in April, and INACOL call for proposals I don't think is out just yet, but will be probably soon. So that's one thing to keep on your radar. Does anyone else know of any upcoming conferences that they'll be attending or that might be interesting for the group to know about? Okay, Michael mentioned the Ed Media conference in June, but that they have a limited K-12 sessions. Thank you, Michael, for that one. Okay, we will go ahead and move on. Are there any other opportunities that we haven't covered that anyone is sitting on, is interested in, knows about? I'll give you just a minute for that. Michael just mentioned the call for eLearn, which is out right now with the conference in November. So thank you for that. And the QM proposals are out, it seems like, from Ray. You've got 7 days to get your QM proposals in, so best of luck.
QM proposals are easy to put together, and you don't have to be a QM member to present.
Oh, good to know. Thank you, Ray. That's very good to know. Okay, so we will continue on. Does anyone have any research that they're doing now that they have questions about or they'd like some insight from the group? Feel free to go ahead and take over the mic. It might be easier to explain something through your mic rather than typing the whole thing out. So I'll give a minute for anyone here to go ahead and commandeer.
Catherine, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Okay, good. I didn't know if my mic was working. This is Tracy Wheeler at DSU, and I actually have been putting together some field experiences for our pre-service teachers. And what I did last semester as for our practicum experience, I had 3 of my students that are in secondary have part of a practicum experience in an online school. in a secondary online school, and in addition to their face-to-face experience. And so this semester as student teaching, I actually have I have two students that will be doing some student teaching in an online placement as well as face-to-face. I am having a hard time finding research information, how to put together this type of placement for our students. And I was wondering if anybody knows who I can contact or get information about this type of field experience.
Yeah, Tracy, this is Catherine. We put out, after our national survey that we did, which we're actually reiterating this year, that we did in 2012, so we're redoing it this year, hopefully getting the survey out in the next couple weeks. But it's a bit of a monster considering it's going out to about 1,600 people or more. One of the things that we did after that was we put together, because that was really the question everybody had, how do you design something like this? What is the ideal looking program look like? And so what we ended up doing was collecting all the data from the different places that were actually putting something on for their students, and then kind of put everything together, got feedback on what was working, what was not working, and then put it together into an article, and I can share that with you. And it's a pretty practical one. It's in an instructional design journal, and it's open access. So I'll go ahead and post that in just a second. But does anybody else have any thing to add? I know, Michael, you've done a lot of work with the group at Iowa State as well, and their pieces of information that they got out of Tegavis.
Thank you, Tracy, for your question, and Catherine for your answer. I hope that's helpful for you. Does anyone else have any um, research-related questions they'd like to pose to the group? We'll give another minute for that. Dennis asked, has anyone had success in getting through an IRB to interview special ed students in cyber schools? That's a great question, Dennis. We haven't, as far as I know. Catherine could offer more light, but I don't think we have. Anyone else out there? Kevin, good question. Not a rookie question. You will get feedback. You'll probably get lots of feedback, whether it's ready for publication or not. You'll definitely get feedback. I think the goal for everybody is to help everyone do great work and put great work out there. So yeah, you'll get tons of feedback after you submit it. It does depend sometimes on the reviewers, but hopefully whoever it goes to will provide you with some good feedback. Okay, we will continue on. This is some information about our upcoming webinar series, so I'll turn it over to Justin since this is what he handles for us. So Justin, if you want to talk about these real quick.
Sure. Thanks, Kristen. We just wanted to make brief mention of our webinar next week at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we will hear from Mary Frances Rice from the University of Kansas, and she will be talking about online educators' roles in supporting students with disabilities. This presentation is based, I believe, on her latest article that was in the Journal of Online Learning, OLC. So that is our most upcoming webinar, but you can also check out that link at the bottom there where you can see all of our upcoming webinars. I believe we have a webinar in almost every week of March. So we'll be hearing from a lot of different researchers, including Mary Frances next month, but we'll also hear from some folks at REL Midwest on their study on online teacher training. We'll also be hearing from Saro Mohammed from the Learning Accelerator on a measurement agenda for blended learning within districts. We'll also hear from some researchers at Old Dominion University on online tutoring programs for middle school math students. So really hope you can get a chance to navigate over to that website, mark those dates on your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you at our webinars to engage in some great discussion around all this impactful research.
Thank you so much, Justin. And as Justin mentioned, you can find the other webinars on our website. You can also sign up for our mailing list if you are not signed up now, so you'll get all of the emails about our webinars. And Justin also does a podcast for us, which is excellent. So you can find information about that on our website as well as our presentation. So mvlri.org for all of that. Yep, here you go. Contact us. Here's all of our sort of digital information. So mvlri.org. Or mvlri@mivu.org if you'd like to send us an email if you're interested about the webinars or the blogs. And there's our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn information as well. And if anyone would like to share their contact information in the chat as well for any potential collaborations, that would be great. And if potential similar research interests. And I think unless there's anything else, that concludes our meeting. We'll give a couple minutes maybe for people typing at the end. Thank you everyone for sharing your contact information. That's really helpful for anyone who's interested in reaching out for their research. So thank you for that. And thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a relatively short meeting, but a good one, I think. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And we look forward to seeing you at a webinar or at our next meeting. Thank you.